Okay, so this week I wanted to talk about conspiracy theories in wrestling. And I will start with Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Listen, he owns the company. You have to understand that no matter what you're saying to yourself, no matter the reports that you're looking at, the ones you're reading, the ones you believe with your favorite TikTokers or your Twitter trolls, you have to understand it's just a theory. It's people going based off what they think is happening. Everybody thought that Omos versus Lesnar was a decision that was made by Vince McMahon. Guys, listen to me. That is not true. You do understand Lesnar has free reign in terms of who he works. There is a report coming out recently that, or there's a report that came out recently that is headlined by Vince Russo. Yes, I know. Awful person in wrestling. But he has said something very interesting in this report. That he believes that Lesnar choosing not to work Bray Wyatt is indicative of how the company feels about Bray. Now, I'm here to tell you that based off my personal experience in the world of professional wrestling and based off my years of watching and being patient to see what happens, I believe that he may be correct. I do think that the WWE has lost their way with Bray. Oh, that rhymed. That was unintentional. Well, let's look at it. He comes back to professional wrestling. He has his sights set on character development. Every report that's come out that's of note, whether we choose to believe it or not, says that he is allowed to dictate where and how the story progresses in terms of Bray Wyatt. I'm here to tell you that I believe that Vince Russo might actually be right because he's going backwards. Bray's going backwards. See, when he was interested in this character, right, and he came back with Uncle Howdy and all of this, the idea was that it was going to be something we haven't seen before and it was going to be more free. But we're not watching that, are we? We saw the inability for Bray Wyatt to keep up with someone on the microphone who is uber talented in terms of charisma. We just watched LA Knight eat Bray Wyatt's lunch. A while back, we saw CM Punk and MJF get into this little tiff, this feud. And just like MJF's character, that I believe will never change, he made CM Punk go through obstacles to get to him. Sound familiar? Yes, that's what he's always done. He did it to Cody. He did it to Punk. He did it to Bryan. This is a part of his character. This just shows you the lack of imagination in AEW. It's the same character development over and over. But in this, we all, as a whole, understood that even though Punk beat Wardlow, Wardlow came out the winner of that match. Punk put him over. Because what we've learned in professional wrestling is that you don't need to win the match to get put over. That's exactly what happened with LA Knight. He was able to keep up with Bray. I mean, this is unheard of. One of the best wrestlers walking the planet today is Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins very clearly stated in a recent interview, now this isn't speculation, this isn't something I read, this is directly from Seth's mouth. He said it's hard to come out of a feud with Bray as a winner because his character is so unique. And he states in there that Daniel Bryan's the only guy who came out of there and was able to keep going. Now, I wanted to bring this up because we're watching LA Knight continue to get more mic work. He's getting more matches. He is over with the crowd. I mean, Drew McIntyre's over. Sheamus is over. But LA Knight comes out in the middle of their back and forth, and he got the pop of the night. And this is also including the fact that Cody was on this show. And Sammy is the hot ticket item right now. And LA Knight got the pop of the night. People love him. They hang on every word he says. Let me talk to you. I mean, they recite his catchphrases back to him. His merch sales are pretty high right now. I mean, pay attention. Look in the audience. People are wearing that LA Knight t-shirt now. It's a generic red t-shirt with a big LA on it. And people are buying that t-shirt. People believe in him. So from there, we go to what Bray Wyatt has not been able to do. He himself has not been able to come out of this feud, even though he got the win. He's not been able to come out of this feud as a winner. He targeted Lesnar and Lashley. Lashley got the nod. And good on Lashley for taking the challenge ahead. But no one cares about this match. There isn't a person interested in it. I mean, this isn't AEW. This is WWE. People talk about this company on the regular. I have coworkers that don't even watch wrestling, but they know who Bobby Lashley is. They know who The Fiend is. And no one cares about this match. Nobody wants this match. Now, I would also say nobody wants Lesnar versus Omos, but we're going to get it anyway. Lesnar's going to make out. And one of the things that we are going to be privy to, that we're going to watch for years and years to come, is when Lesnar suplexes Omos and when he gives Omos the F5. It's going to be played over and over. Just like the original suplex bomb off the top with Lesnar and Big Show, where it was recreated on 2 separate occasions. So back to the conspiracy theory. You have to understand Vince is not in creative. I'm sure he gives us 2 cents, but nobody's listening to him. Because it would hurt the morale backstage. It would. I know you don't believe that, and there was a big uproar on Monday on Twitter and, Wrestle Talk, where people were complaining, Vince is backstage, he's in Gorilla all night, and everybody forgot that John Cena's back. And how many more times are we going to get to see this created monster that Vince McMahon gave us? Think about it. Cena's on his way out completely. So, Vince is there for his boy. You can choose to believe whatever you want to believe. My experiences tell me that that's why he was there. I'm sure Vince had some say in certain things. Oh, I would do it this way, I would do it that way. And they might have taken his pointers and they may not have. But Triple H is in charge. His fingerprints are all over wrestling right now. With the amount of DQ finishes, with the amount of Shawn Michaels recreations that we're getting in NXT, whether it be Roxanne falling down with all of the head kicks that she received, or the barbershop scene with JC and Gigi. I mean, this is what we're getting right now. Just enjoy the ride and practice patience, people. Everything else is a conspiracy theory. Nothing is turning out the way you thought it was going to turn out. People thought that Sammy was going to be added to the main event of WrestleMania. And they very clearly had a plan this time. They were not going to let a Daniel Bryan thing happen. They were not going to let WrestleMania 30 repeat itself. They knew exactly what they were doing. Let's look at how they did it. Sammy loses to Roman. Fans are upset. There's even tweets out there that says, "This is the last time I invest in a character, all for them to take it away from me." Well, guess what, guy? Guess what, PD Pablo 2345? That was the plan. To get you so angry, so the next thing Sammy did, you followed him. So Sammy comes out the next night. He has a confrontation with Jimmy Uso. And they work it. And then Kevin Owens says, "I don't want your help." So now it's like recreating the Shield's last reunion, where one of the members doesn't want to be a part of it. So Sammy's asking for help. Kevin doesn't want to help him. And now you add the element of keeping Cody the biggest babyface in the company by having him help Sami Zayn by arguing with Kevin in the back. This is all happening right in front of us. And everyone bought it. Now we have Jay. Is he going to betray the bloodline? Is he going to team with Sammy? And boom. He turns his back on Sammy. He chooses blood over friendship. And he picks his brother. Of course. And now everybody wants Sammy to beat those damn Usos. And that's what we get. And as much as I think Twitter trolls and TikTokers are going to be angry that Charlotte and Rhea won't main event night one, and I'm angry about it too. I just want to state that. I believe those two women deserve that main event. They have done everything. And Rhea is the hottest woman wrestler in professional wrestling today. I still think the main event of night one is Sammy and Kevin versus the Usos. Your conspiracy theories are false. This isn't Area 51, where there's supposed of existence on other planets. All of this is a story that we've seen before. None of this is new. Wrestling is a recycled gimmick. Give it time. Enjoy the ride. I think it should be noted that Roman and Cody are doing the right thing. Another conspiracy theory that I saw was Roman's promo against Cody, their first confrontation, and how Cody wasn't able to keep up. Guys, that's the plan, is to make it look like Roman is unbeatable, even with a guy as hot as Cody. Again, enjoy the ride. Cody's going to win. I am almost guaranteed that he walks out of WrestleMania the champion. I am almost guaranteed, or I'm almost guaranteeing, that the main event of Backlash will be Cody versus Seth. And you might add Roman if he doesn't take some time off after Mania. Things in professional wrestling that are posted on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok are posted for clickbait. It's all a work. You have to be able to decipher what's true and what's not. Give yourself an opportunity to be open-minded. Don't get upset because you're not getting what you want. Don't be angry. Just enjoy the ride. Now, my last conspiracy theory I want to talk about is MJF and what he supposedly told a talent backstage at WWE. I wanted to get this out of the way. MJF is a troll. He is very, very good at what he does. He is by far the best heel in the business. And he knows to keep that top level heel, he needs to do things that other people haven't done. So having someone leak some information like that, I can't wait to be there in 2024. That makes fans angry. It's working us. It's pissing us off because now everybody wanted Bryan to win. And what happened? MJF won. He beat Bryan. I called this a couple of weeks ago. I said it on one of my podcasts. I believe that the right call was to have MJF beat Bryan. Bryan is one of those guys that doesn't need the championship to be successful. He's still over. That was his 5th championship opportunity, and he's lost all 5. Now, I'm not sure if he'll ever be AEW champion. What I am sure of is he's going to consistently give you the best match of the night with whoever he's working. Now, I don't know if I expected a guy like MJF to keep up with him the way he did in terms of inability in the ring, but being able to tell a story as good as he did with a guy as good as Bryan. I know a lot of people are giving Bryan this credit, and I have stated on here, Bryan is my favorite wrestler, but they both came out on top here, guys. So again, we got the decision we were supposed to get. MJF isn't going anywhere. He's too valuable. He will be in AEW in 2024. And this report will be one of those that we talk about for years to come where it's like, oh, that was BS. Stop getting so angry about these little worked moments. It's not worth it. You're not allowing yourself to enjoy the show. I don't get it. I see all these people angry, and I read all these tweets, and I see all these fucking videos, and I'm just like, my lord, these people are just so invested in this story. But instead of getting worked and just allowing themselves to get worked, they're getting angry, threatening to stop watching. Today are more fickle than they ever have been. I really think we should just enjoy wrestling the way it's presented to us. Stop trying to be a Monday morning quarterback. Just enjoy the show. You can cheer for who you want to cheer for. You can be emotional for who you want to be emotional for. Lose your cool over a television show. Yes, these are athletes, and some of them are better than others. But it's all a story, and everything's long-term booking. Give it some time. Well, that's 20 minutes of conspiracy theory and me trying to calm you down. Now I want to jump into some other stuff in professional wrestling. I want to bring up something that my buddy Tyler brought up to me during the pay-per-view on Sunday. What is going on with Jon Moxley? So his text reads, is all Jon Moxley wants to do is have death matches? If so, why don't you just stay in JCW? Because that's what it seems like. All he's doing is bleeding. And what it's doing is it's desensitizing us to the violence. He's becoming Tommy Dreamer 2.0, where this is the only way he's been able to get over. And I don't understand why we're getting this. I don't understand why he's doing this. What story is he trying to tell us? Because right now, all I'm seeing is I could have competed with Mick Foley and Terry Funk and Sabu. Instead of seeing before his injury, the ring general who was a workhorse. I'm not seeing that. That Adam Page Moxley match, that was not my cup of tea, and I love both of those wrestlers. I mean, I have stated to friends in the past, I believe Adam Page is the one wrestler in AEW that if he chose to leave to WWE, Triple H can turn that man into Stone Cold Steve Austin 2.0. Everything that Adam Page is in professional wrestling would get over enormously in the E. The fact that he's a cowboy, the drinking gimmick where he comes to the ring with a highball glass of whiskey. I mean, those fans would eat that shit up. I could see him going out there and having match after match with Roman, Seth, Cody, Sammy, Kevin. I mean, he would be perfect for Triple H. I feel like he's the guy Triple H is looking for. He can build him from the ground up. Hangman Adam Page to me is the diamond in the rough right now in professional wrestling. I believe he's the AEW version of the Briscoe brothers. He is so good, but he's not willing to take that extra step because being home with his family matters more than his career. And that is so respectable. I mean, honestly, I can't. You can't do anything but respect that guy. He's awesome. So when I watch him get wasted in some kind of weird death match with Jon Moxley, I'm just thinking like, man, this match could have just been so much better. I'm excited to see what happens with him in the future. Hopefully he gets more shine. I'd love to see him work a guy like MJF. I feel like MJF can get the most out of him. I also wanted to talk about this little report or this little interview that Bryan Danielson did recently where he talks about how at the end of his run in WWE, he didn't want to be added to the main event of WrestleMania against Edge and Roman. He felt like he was just going through the motions. I have argued with my buddy Tyler about this. We have argued back and forth about how Bryan being inserted into that match worked because of the injury angle and the potential for their career-threatening injuries. And how Roman had to leave wrestling because of his leukemia, and Edge had to leave because of his neck fusion, and then Bryan had to leave because of concussions. And the three of them working each other was a miracle. It should never have happened. But to hear Bryan Danielson in his own words say that he didn't want that match, and how it was the first match in front of a live audience and he just felt like he wasn't there. I mean, that match is phenomenal. Think about that. If Bryan Danielson's not invested in a match, and for him to still be able to perform as good as he did, even with a guy like Edge or Roman who were exceptional in the ring and amazing storytellers. I mean, you can't pick who your favorite person is in that match. If you watch that match on mute, you're excited through the whole match. I just think that says something about the end of his run in WWE and how unhappy he was and how he needed to leave. I do love how he said how his final match in front of the screens with Roman was a perfect send-off. I think it needs to be pointed out that Roman Reigns is one of the 3 or 4 best wrestlers in the world. I will argue with anyone. I will have this conversation with any person that wants to have it. Roman is by far one of the most talented in-ring performers we've ever seen. I wholeheartedly believe that in the entire Samoan clan that has come through professional wrestling, the Anoa'i family, I believe Roman is the best in-ring performer we've ever gotten. And there are some exceptional wrestlers. There's Roman, there's Rock, there's Yoko, Haku, Rikishi, the Usos. But I think Roman's the best. And I said something the other day on someone's comment on TikTok that was complaining about Rocky and him not being a part of WrestleMania this year. And he said, without Rock, this show is unbearable. And I'm thinking, like, how could you say that in terms of in-ring performance? In terms of what he means inside the squared circle, Roman Reigns has surpassed everything Rock was supposed to do. Think about it. Rocky didn't main event this many WrestleManias. Rocky wasn't handpicked. He wasn't even the guy. He was the 1B to Austin. Right now, there is no Triple H. There is nobody like that. There's no super popular Chris Jericho. There's no super popular Jeff Hardy. There is no Kurt Angle. Rocky is in a class of his own. I mean, not Rocky. Roman is in a class of his own right now. There's nobody like that in professional wrestling. In terms of what he means to the sport itself, I would say Roman Reigns is on a Michael Jordan type level, where there are talented superstars in WWE, but no one can touch him. It's not like the way the NBA is set up now, how LeBron James is clearly the best player in the past 20 years, but there are so many guys that have battled him for that spot. There was nothing like that in the Jordan era. And that's what we're seeing. We're watching a Jordan era right now with Roman Reigns. I think people need to enjoy him because that man has star-making potential all over him. And I don't mean that in professional wrestling. He's already eclipsed everything he was supposed to eclipse. There's really not much he could do. Like, he retires right after Mania. He's a Hall of Famer right away. And people start putting him in their Mount Rushmores. Because that's what happens when wrestlers retire. They start regretting all the times they hated him. Look at all of the John Cena fans that have miraculously come out of nowhere. People hated Cena, called him Super Cena, said he had the golden shovel. He's not wrestling anymore, and now people can't get enough of Cena. Please enjoy this Jordan era level that Roman Reigns has given us. Look at those Shield years. Look at the big dog years as before Pippen got there. Because Paul Heyman is the Scottie Pippen. The moment he got Heyman along with him, he was untouchable. He is untouchable. I love Cody. I'm rooting for Cody at Mania. I'll be wearing my original American Nightmare t-shirt, the Bullet Club one, for WrestleMania weekend. But I would not be angry at all if Roman retains the title. Because I am just absolutely invested in everything Roman's doing.
So if I sounded like a broken record on this podcast, this was just me wanting to talk about those few conspiracy theories and just some random thoughts. If you're enjoying my content, please follow me on TikTok. That's BORICUA.LOU. I plan on starting my YouTube channel in the next month. And as I've mentioned my buddy Tyler a couple times, if you're interested in a different take on professional wrestling, jump over to his podcast. It's also here on Spotify. It's called Proving Your Case. And he picks a certain topic and talks about the topic on his podcast as if it was a court case. And it is a brilliant listen. I especially loved his Montreal Screwjob episode. He almost had me siding with him. Ultimately, I've decided to continue to side with Bret Hart. He is, however, in my Mount Rushmore, and it's going to be really hard for me to ever pick Shawn Michaels over Bret. But thanks for listening. I'm out.